You're meditating, you're visualizing, you're saying the affirmations twice a day. But it still hasn't come. You're doing everything right, but nothing is changing. Let me tell you a truth. Florence Scovel Shinn knew over 100 years ago. You're not blocked because you're doing it wrong. You're blocked because you're still trying. Trying is tension. Trying is control. And control is fear wearing a mask called effort. Your soul is not meant to hustle for what already belongs to it. It is meant to receive what it is ready to believe. So now I ask you, gently but directly, what are you unconsciously resisting even as you pray for it? What do you say you want, but still secretly fear, still secretly resent, still secretly doubt? Because what you resist persists, and what you fear delays itself. Here is the divine paradox. Sometimes your very discipline becomes your denial. Your spiritual rituals are no longer invitations. They've become insurance policies, and God doesn't move through pressure, only through peace. By the end of this video, you'll uncover the hidden law that's been working against your manifestation, and exactly how to flip it in your favor. Let's begin. There is a spiritual law Florence taught that most people misunderstand. The subconscious is never swayed by effort, only by belief. You can repeat affirmations until your voice fades, but if your vibration says, "I don't believe this yet," the universe will say, "Then I won't deliver it yet." Your mind is mechanical, but your spirit is magnetic. You are not rewarded by how hard you try. You are aligned by how deeply you trust. Now listen closely, because this is where most people go wrong. They start using spiritual tools the same way they once used fear. Trying to manifest becomes another form of control. They are still gripping their desire, but now with positive language. And Florence warned us about this, over and over. Man's only enemy is himself. His fear outpictures as delay. His control disguises itself as prayer. You don't manifest what you perform, you manifest what you embody. And embodiment begins the moment you release the need to prove you deserve it. So I ask you again, are you praying or are you panicking while using spiritual words? Are you affirming abundance or begging the universe in disguise? Because here's the Florence law. When man is undisturbed by appearance, he begins to attract. That's the law. Undisturbed, not by results, not by timelines, not even by silence. Let me show you what that looks like today. You don't walk around saying, "I will have it." You walk like it's already yours. Not because you're pretending, but because you understand the divine contract was already signed, and now you're just staying in spiritual position to receive it. Like a radio dial, you don't scream at the frequency. You tune in quiet, you align without noise. This is not passivity. This is power without panic. And once you understand that, you will stop chasing proof and start walking in peace. That's when the shift happens. That's when delays break. That's when the thing you've been straining for suddenly appears effortlessly. Because now you're no longer vibrating with resistance. Now you're an open gate. You've waited long enough. You've prayed with pure heart, spoken all the right words, visualized your dream into vivid color. And still, it hasn't come. The money hasn't arrived. The healing hasn't broken through. The phone is silent. The door is closed. The miracle you've been loyal to feels 1,000 miles away. You wonder quietly, what more am I supposed to do? You begin to think maybe you missed something. Maybe you're not aligned enough. Maybe it's just not meant for you. But I'm here to tell you something sacred, something powerful. Something Florence Scovel Shinn taught over a century ago, a divine law that has not changed. You are not blocked because you're doing it wrong. You are blocked because you are still afraid. And fear, no matter how spiritual your language becomes, still echoes louder than your words. The universe doesn't respond to repetition. It responds to vibration. What are you still afraid of, even while you affirm your desire? What consequence do you still brace for, even as you say, "I receive with ease"? Because no matter how polished your affirmations become, you cannot receive what you secretly fear. And here is the sacred promise. Once you release the fear, the flow begins, instantly, naturally, quietly, without force. There is a divine law, the law of subconscious assumption, and it rules your entire reality. Florence said, man's only enemy is himself, through fear, doubt, and resentment. This law says, whatever you assume is real, becomes real, not just in your conscious thoughts, but in the hidden beliefs under your spiritual surface. What is this law? It means your deepest emotional expectation is the engine of your life. If you say, I am abundant, but still fear losing money, you will attract lack. If you say, I deserve love, but secretly believe you're unworthy, love will flee from you. Because the universe doesn't listen to language. It listens to energy. And your subconscious energy always tells the truth. B. Why do people block it? Because we're taught to speak positively, but never taught to clean the fear underneath. We repeat words, we write them, we sing them, but we still flinch when the bill comes. We still brace ourselves for disappointment before the job interview. We still assume something will go wrong, and the subconscious hears this and obeys. C. How do you shift into alignment? You go deeper than words. You feel the fear, name it, and bless it goodbye. You stop running from it. You stare at the fear and say, you are not my guide. You are not my truth. I now walk by faith. Florence said, fear is only inverted faith. It is faith in evil instead of good. To shift means to trust without backup plans. To speak your word, not to convince, but to declare. Because now your vibration is clean, and a clean vibration always receives. Repeat after me, slowly, with power. Let the words enter your nervous system. I now release all fear of receiving. I now release all fear of receiving. What I seek is seeking me, without resistance. What I seek is seeking me, without resistance. I trust the divine flow. I no longer control it. I trust the divine flow. I no longer control it. I am no longer afraid of my own good. I am no longer afraid of my own good. She prayed every day. She visualized faithfully. She believed in God, the universe, the law. But deep down, when she pictured the life she wanted, she also pictured the pain that might come with it. What if having more meant losing more? What if getting her dream job meant burning out again? What if receiving the money made people jealous? What if visibility brought shame? What if having love meant losing freedom? So she blocked her blessings. Not because she didn't believe, but because she still feared the cost. One night, in silence, she wrote one honest line in her journal. I'm afraid to receive. Not because she didn't want to, but because she didn't feel safe having it. That one confession shattered everything. It exposed the real block. It wasn't doubt. It wasn't timing. It was self-protection in the name of spiritual obedience. The next day, her tone changed. Her words softened. She stopped asking. She started allowing. Within 3 days, her client paid her in full. Her inbox filled with opportunities. Not because she spoke louder, but because she finally felt safe being blessed. You cannot receive what you secretly fear. You must bless the outcome, or it cannot enter. And now, the second law, effort, is not faith. It is resistance, in disguise. Some people pray like they're shouting at a locked door. They affirm like they're hammering their knuckles against heaven. Their rituals are frantic. Their visualizations are rehearsals for disappointment. They think they're being spiritual, but they're just spiritualizing anxiety. The truth is harsh, but freeing. The harder you try, the more you declare you do not yet have it. And the divine law does not move through begging. It moves through knowing. Quiet, calm, aligned, certain. Florence said, man must prepare for the thing he has asked for, though no sign appears. Faith prepares. Fear performs. Faith rests. Fear repeats. Faith trusts. It is done. Fear worries. What if it isn't? When your affirmations are fueled by fear, they cannot bloom. You are still watering them with doubt. You are planting seeds, and then digging them up daily to check for roots. It is not more trying that brings the breakthrough. It is less resistance. Repeat after me. I release the need to prove my worth. I release the need to prove my worth. My effort does not create. My faith creates. My effort does not create. My faith creates. I allow the divine to work without my interference. I allow the divine to work without my interference. I no longer try. I trust. I no longer try. I trust. He was tired of doing the right things. Tired of being a spiritual student. He journaled. He visualized. He lit candles. He followed every step, but he felt more exhausted than ever, and nothing was changing. One day he got so fed up he dropped it all. No more affirmations, no more rituals. He sat on the floor and whispered, God, I give up trying. You do it. And in that moment, not panic, not desperation, But peace entered the room. 3 days later, his long-lost friend sent him a job offer. Not because he worked harder, but because he stopped resisting. His trying was tension. His surrender was power. Effort is not faith. It is resistance wearing a holy costume. To receive, you must stop reaching. You must become the thing you're asking for. No more fear. No more force. No more performance. Just peace. Just trust. Just alignment. And the law will do what it always does. Respond to your vibration and deliver without delay. You've done everything they told you to do. You've let go. You've trusted the process. You've stopped asking when, and yet nothing is happening. You say you're ready. You've been open, patient, spiritually aligned, but the thing you desire still hasn't come. And so you begin to wonder, is it possible to be ready on the outside, but unprepared on the inside? What if your desire isn't delayed? It's simply waiting for the version of you who can carry it. What if the door isn't locked? You're just standing in front of the wrong one. Here's the divine truth. You do not attract what you ask for. You attract what you prepare for. And preparation is not performance. It's not effort. It's not a checklist. It is the silent proof of belief. If you believed it was already yours, what would you be doing right now? What would you be cleaning, building, clearing, releasing? How would your energy shift today if you knew your manifestation was already en route? Your word is your wand, yes, but your preparation is your permission slip. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that spiritual demonstration is not based on hope, but on readiness. She said, man must prepare for the thing he has asked for though no sign appears. What does this mean? It means divine manifestation isn't magic, it's magnetic. You become the match for what you want through the quiet acts of faith that most people never see. This law teaches you are not waiting on your blessing. Your blessing is waiting on your preparation. Why do people block it? Because they confuse waiting with preparation. They confuse patience with passivity. They think manifestation is a mental exercise, not a full body alignment. But you can't fool divine law. You may affirm wealth, but if your bank account is unmanaged, if your space is cluttered, if your energy is still fearing responsibility, you are not yet prepared. How do you shift? You begin today, before the sign, before the proof. You clean the closet for the house you've asked for. You set the table for the partner you've prayed for. You build the container and allow life to fill it. Because life only fills what you prepare. Spirit only delivers to where you've made room. I now prepare for what I've already received. My belief takes form in action, not anxiety. My belief takes form in action, not anxiety. I am ready. I am open. I am aligned. I am ready. I am open. I am aligned. If it hasn't come yet, you haven't made space. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you're ready for. You say you're ready for love, but your heart is still guarded. You're still replaying betrayals. You still sleep next to the ghost of who hurt you. You say you're ready for wealth, but your decisions are still rooted in lack. You tiptoe around opportunity. You delay investments. You speak abundance with your mouth, but doubt it in your bones. One day you pause, you get still, and you finally stop asking for a sign, and you start becoming the sign. You clean the drawer. You clear the energy. You say no to the thing that almost fits, because it's not the thing you truly asked for. And suddenly, doors open. People call. The thing you swore was delayed arrives effortlessly. Not because you waited, but because you prepared. You've been taught that lack is a condition, that it's outside of you, that you need more time, more education, more money, more approval. But the real truth, lack is not a condition. It is a conclusion. It is a decision you make when you define what is not enough. Lack only exists when you judge what you have now as unworthy of power. Florence said, man is his own jailer. Each thought is a bar on the window. If you keep thinking you need more to begin, more to be worthy, more to be certain, you are not in lack, you are in delay. Because the universe responds to action, not excuse. And most lack is just a spiritual stall that begins with the words, once I have this, I'll finally. You were not born in lack. You were born with the divine source already inside. So if lack is showing up, it's not your destiny, it's your decision. Repeat after me, let it sink, let it rewire you. Lack is not real, it is only a belief. Lack is not real, it is only a belief. I already have what I need to begin. I already have what I need to begin. My supply is spiritual, not situational. My supply is spiritual, not situational. You try to chase what they're doing, instead of honoring what's already in your hands. You delay your calling, because you believe your tools aren't sharp enough. You say I'll start once I have X, Y, or Z, but months go by. Then until you look back and realize you weren't stuck. You just didn't feel ready enough to start from where you were. And that's the lie, that where you are isn't holy, that what you have isn't powerful, that what you can do today isn't enough to change everything. But Florence said, the ground you stand on is holy ground. So today, use what you have, speak what you know, build with the raw material already in your possession. Because the only thing lack needs to survive is your agreement. Break the agreement, withdraw your consent, and watch what happens. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you prepare for. And lack isn't a condition, it's a conclusion you no longer have to accept. The moment you decide you are no longer in lack, the moment you act as if abundance is already flowing, that's the moment the flow returns. Not because you forced it, but because you finally made room. You stopped doubting the seed and started watering the soil, and now the harvest begins. You wait and wonder why it still hasn't happened. You've read every book, whispered every affirmation, watched all the signs. You're doing everything right. So why does it still feel so wrong? Why are the doors still closed? Why do the blessings feel blocked? Is it possible that what you're doing isn't the problem, but what you're secretly believing behind your doing? You tell the world, I trust, but beneath the surface, there's still fear. You say, I let go, but deep down, you're gripping the outcome so tight it cannot breathe. So the universe holds back, not in punishment, but in precision, because what you want cannot come to a version of you who doesn't fully trust it. Here's the truth, Florence taught. Your word is your wand, but your feeling is the fuel. It is not the outer obedience, but the inner alignment that opens the way. And today that changes, because when your soul finally surrenders the outcome, divine timing becomes now. Let's talk about the law of non-resistance. The law of non-resistance is not about passivity. It is about spiritual velocity. In a world obsessed with forcing results, hustling harder, chasing the next thing, this law says, stop pushing. Because what you chase, you delay, and what you surrender to in faith, arrive. Non-resistance means you stop fighting reality. You stop fearing the future, and you start aligning with peace. Florence said, man can only receive what he sees himself receiving, but resistance blocks that inner vision. It whispers, it's not working. You're behind. You have to fix it. And in that panic, you slip out of divine order. Here's how people block this law. They say they trust, but still plot the how. They pray for answers, but obsessively check the clock. They declare peace, but then beg and plead in worry. Your outer voice says, I receive, but your inner tone screams, I don't believe it'll come. So how do you shift? You stop needing to know the how. You say, I'm not waiting, I'm welcoming. You begin to act, not from urgency, but from clarity. You make space for what you want by becoming unshakable without it. You detach, not from desire, but from the fear of delay. And when you stop resisting what is, what you truly desire can finally flow in. Let us align now. I trust divine order is arranging everything for my good. I trust divine order is arranging everything for my good. I now stop resisting and start receiving. I now stop resisting and start receiving. I release the how and surrender to the now. I release the how and surrender to the now. My peace is my power. My peace is my power. You were never waiting for the thing. The thing was waiting for your peace. Keynote 1. Peace is not passive, it's magnetic. Keynote 2. You don't push the door open, you become the key. You want to know what unlocked my life. It wasn't another strategy. It wasn't another sleepless night trying to figure it out. It was the moment I stopped pretending I trusted, while secretly doubting every silent day. Stopped pretending I'd let go, when I was still mentally bargaining with the future. Stopped resisting the season I was in, and just breathed. You see, I had done it all right, visualized it, declared it, aligned with it, or so I thought, but I was still bracing for it not to work. Still secretly rehearsing worst-case outcomes in my head, still telling God what to do and when. And then one day I heard this line, You do not live by chance, but by divine choice. And I realized my choice was fear. I was choosing control over surrender, anxiety over peace, doing over being. So I did the bravest thing. I stepped back. I stopped needing to be the engineer of my miracle. And within weeks, the very thing I'd been forcing flowed in, easily, peacefully, powerfully, because I had become the version of me that could hold it, not just hope for it. Now let us move into the second divine truth. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you prepare for. We say we want abundance, love, peace. But are you living in a way that welcomes it? Have you made space in your energy, your habits, your thoughts, your home? Most people wait to see before they believe, but this law flips the script. You believe it, then you see it. You prepare for it, then it arrives. Florence said, faith knows it has already received and acts accordingly. Act according. If you truly believed your miracle was en route, would you still be anxious? Still doubting yourself every day? Still clinging to backup plans? Or would you move through your day with quiet, holy confidence? Would you tidy your soul like you're expecting sacred guests? Would you get ready for the rain by digging ditches, as the prophet said? Here's how we block it. We think it's not working just because it's not visible. We stop preparing. We slip into lack. We withhold our joy until there's proof. But divine law doesn't respond to hesitation. It responds to readiness, to boldness, to spiritual expectancy. So how do we shift? You prepare. Not from ego, but from embodiment. If you want wealth, organize your finances. If you want love, love yourself in the mirror today. If you want peace, remove what disturbs it now, not once things get better. Move in faith like it's already done, because spiritually it is. Say this with me. I prepare with joy, not pressure. I prepare with joy, not pressure. I now welcome what I once feared. I act as if it is done, and so it is. I act as if it is done, and so it is. Keynote 1. Heaven only delivers to ready addresses. Keynote 2. Faith doesn't ask for signs. It sets the table. Listen closely. There was a time I begged for peace, but lived in chaos. Begged for love, but rejected myself. Begged for success, but hid from opportunity. Until one day, I walked into my own bedroom and asked myself, if a miracle knocked right now, would I even be ready to open the door? I wasn't. Not emotionally, not spiritually, not energetically. I was still living like blessings were rare, instead of inevitable. So I began. I cleaned my space with intention. I deleted contacts that echoed my old self. I woke up each morning and acted like I already had what I desired. And that changed everything. Because I wasn't waiting anymore. I was welcoming. Today, become the version of you that is ready. Clear the doubt. Release the clutter. Stop asking for signs and start becoming one. The universe is not withholding. It is waiting for your energy to become a match, for your words to speak with knowing, for your faith to move from theory into truth. And when you are truly ready, you won't even need to chase the door. It will swing wide open. You've been knocking, begging, waiting. You've lit every candle, said every prayer, held on to every affirmation with white knuckles. And yet, silence. The door does not move, and deep inside, something starts whispering. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm not spiritual enough. Maybe I don't believe hard enough. That self-doubt becomes the prayer. That fear becomes the frequency. So let me ask you, what if the door isn't opening because it's already unlocked? What if the very act of trying is the proof that you don't believe it's already yours? Florence said, faith knows it has already received, not will receive, not someday. Already, which means if you're still knocking, you don't trust what's inside. By the end of this message, you'll stop begging the universe to bless you and start walking like you're already chosen. Because the truth is, the door opens the moment you stop demanding and start allowing. The real miracle isn't the manifestation. The real miracle is peace before proof. Divine law is always delivering, but you must stop chasing what is trying to meet you in stillness. There is a divine law so few ever master, and it's this. What you chase, you delay. What you rest in, you attract. It's not a rule made by man, it's law made by spirit. It is not optional, It is not emotional. It simply works, like gravity, like sunlight, like breath. Here's what this law means. You are not meant to struggle your way into blessings. You are meant to prepare the field and then allow the rain. Why don't most people live this way? Because they confuse stillness with passivity. They confuse surrender with giving up. They confuse divine timing with maybe it'll never happen. But what Florence knew, and what most of the modern world forgot, is that your internal climate predicts the weather of your life. You're not blocked because you're unlucky. You're blocked because you're trying too hard. Trying is often spiritual code for I don't believe it's done. And until you drop the belief that your effort is required to prove your worth, you'll never receive in peace. The shift begins the moment you drop the chase and take your position as the one already chosen. This law requires audacity, bold stillness, radical confidence in the invisible. So how do you shift? You stop performing, you stop panicking, you stop knocking, and you declare, if it's mine, I do not chase it. I make room for it. That is the frequency of someone who gets everything they ask for. I now release the need to chase. I now release the need to chase. I now trust what is mine is already on the way. I now trust what is mine is already on the way. I now align with the peace of divine time. I now align with the peace of divine timing. Keynote 1, the chase is the delay. Keynote 2, spirit responds to rest, not resistance. You know what chasing taught me? That I didn't believe I was worthy without working for it. I was working hard, affirming loud, scripting daily, but every action carried a silent fear. If I don't do, I won't get. Until one night, something in me broke. I was crying over a dream that hadn't come. Not because it was denied, but because I was exhausted from trying to earn it. And in that silence, I heard this truth drop into my spirit. You've already been chosen. You're just too busy proving you're ready to receive. That moment changed everything. I stopped scripting like a soldier and started breathing like a believer. I stopped watching the clock. I stopped watching others. I started watching my energy. And guess what? The things I chased for years began to land without effort. Not because I finally deserved them, but because I finally stopped blocking them. Peace was the permission. It wasn't the hustle that opened the door. It was the surrender. You don't manifest what you obsess over. You manifest what you are at peace with. Some of you think you're being faithful, but it's not faith, it's fear in disguise. You're praying through panic, visualizing through pressure, affirming through anxiety, and the universe reads all of it. Because it doesn't hear your words, it feels your vibration. So if you want the door to open, stop knocking. Sit down, breathe, say thank you, because what you stop chasing starts chasing. You've been faithful, you've waited, you've tried, and still, you wonder why it's not working. You've done the inner child work, you've cleared the blocks, you've practiced the mindset, but nothing seems to move. It's like standing in front of a divine vending machine, punching in the code, but the blessing stays stuck behind the glass. And here's the hidden reason why. Trying too hard is still disbelief. You've told yourself you're in alignment, but underneath, you're really in performance mode. You're saying all the right things, but silently, you're still asking when. You're doing the vision board, but inside you're still doubting. Will it really happen for me? Let me say this clearly. The manifestation doesn't respond to your effort. It responds to your energy. You are not here to push your desires into being. You are here to match their frequency. Trying too hard is resistance wearing lipstick. It's fear, dressed up in a spiritual outfit. It's hustle energy hidden inside divine discipline. But your soul knows the truth, so how do you shift? You rest. You rest in the knowing. You walk away from the door and let the butler open it. You don't manifest by force. You manifest by embodiment. You become the version of you who already has it. And then your world catches up. I now release the pressure to perform. I now release the pressure to perform. I now receive with ease and flow. I now receive with ease and flow. I now embody the version of me who already has it. I now embody the version of me who already has it. Keynote 1. Stop trying so hard you're not here to earn it. Keynote 2. What you believe is already yours does not require proof, only peace. Let me be real with you. The moment I stopped trying to manifest and started living like it was already mine, everything changed. I walked like a woman who was already paid. I dressed like I already had the opportunity. I thanked God before it even showed up, because deep down I knew the trying was the trauma. The effort was the echo of old wounds that said I had to earn what was already gifted. And when I stopped, everything started. A phone call, an opportunity, a check in the mail, a dream that had been stuck for years, suddenly moved without warning, without work, without force. Because the moment you stop trying, you shift from force to flow, from panic to peace, from waiting to receiving. That's when you know it's divine. So if you feel blocked, ask yourself, am I trying to create, or am I trusting what's already created for me? Your effort is not the evidence of faith, your peace is. And when peace becomes your posture, the floodgates open. You don't have to chase it anymore. It's already en route. All you have to do is stop knocking and start knowing. You say you want success, but secretly you envy those who have it. You say you want wealth, but deep down you think rich people are selfish. You say you want love, but something inside you still believes that love abandons you. How can you receive a thing if you resent the very form it takes? How can you welcome something if every time it gets close, your energy flinches? Here's the hard truth. You cannot possess what you secretly resent. So I ask you, is your desire pure, or is it wrapped in judgment, jealousy, shame? Because here's what no one tells you. Your subconscious doesn't manifest what you want. It manifests what you're willing to bless. And whatever you refuse to bless, you push away. But here's the spiritual promise. The moment you bless the life you desire, even if it hurts to look at, it stops running from you. Bless what you want, and what you want starts looking for you. This is not magic, it's divine law. And the law is, whatever you admire, you attract. Whatever you resent, you repel. Your word is your wand, and if your words about wealth, love, or power are bitter, your wand turns blessings into barriers. Let's break this open. The divine law here is the law of non-resistance, a law that Florence Scovel Shinn taught over and over again, but most people miss its true power. What is it? It's the energetic agreement that what you resist persists, and what you bless expands. If you curse the rich, you block wealth. If you envy the married, you delay love. If you mock success, you sabotage your rise. Why do people block it? Because it's easier to resent than to rise. It's easier to scoff than to surrender. The ego wants to be right about the world being unfair, even if it means staying broke, alone, or stuck. But that rightness has a price. Every time you judge someone living the life you want, you tell your subconscious, I don't want that. And the universe, being obedient to your vibration, says, your wish is my command. So how do you shift into alignment? You become a master of blessing. You see a luxury car and say, look at God's abundance on display. You see someone get married and say, that's evidence of love in the world. And mine is coming too. You hear someone say they made $100K last month and you whisper, proof. The supply is unlimited. Jealousy says, why not me? Alignment says, that's showing me what's possible. You have to switch frequencies, from comparison to confirmation, from resistance to resonance, from they don't deserve it to and so do I. Repeat with me now. I bless the wealth I see. I bless the wealth I see. I celebrate the success of others. I celebrate the success of others. What I admire, I attract. What I admire, I attract. Now let's shift to the second truth. When you let go of the how, the when becomes now. Say that again in your spirit. When you let go of how, the when comes rushing in. So many are delaying their miracle because they're obsessed with controlling the method. They want love, but only if it comes from that person. They want wealth, but only if it comes through this job. They want healing, but only if it follows their timeline. And here's what happens. They block the blessing because they mistrust the mystery. They idolize their plan and ignore the divine one. But the truth is, divine timing does not respond to pressure, only to peace. When you surrender the how, the universe sends the now. This is the law of release. One of the most paradoxical, powerful spiritual truths. What you let go of flows to you. What you cling to slips away. People block this law because they believe control's safe. But in spiritual law, control is actually fear, wearing a mask. And fear is a repellent. Fear says, I don't trust it'll happen unless I do it all. Faith says, I trust it's already happening, even when I don't see it. So how do you align with it? You learn to become unattached to the how. You wake up and say, show me the next right step. Not fix it my way, but flow through me today. You move from what should I do to who should I be, and you hold space for the blessing without strangling it. Let these affirmations anchor that shift. I now release the how. I now release the how. I walk in faith, not pressure. I walk in faith, not pressure. Divine timing is unfolding now. Divine timing is unfolding now. Now take a breath, because these next lines are the turning point. Keynote 1. You cannot possess what you secretly resent. Keynote 2. When you let go of the how, the when becomes now. Let me tell you what it really looked like. I remember sitting in a cramped apartment, bitter over someone else's promotion. They got the position I wanted, one I worked late nights for, one I cried and fasted and prayed over. And here they were, casually accepting it like it was no big deal. I wanted to be happy for them, but my body burned, not because I hated them, but because I thought if life were fair, it would have been me. And with every silent curse I whispered under my breath, I was pushing my own elevation away. Then one day I heard it, clear as anything: bless what you desire or it will never come near. It felt like being slapped by the spirit. That night, I sat in front of my mirror and forced myself to say, I bless her success, I celebrate her rise. Her gain does not take from me. The first few times it felt fake. The next few, it felt freeing. And by the 7th day, something cracked open. 3 weeks later, a better opportunity, more aligned, more lucrative, came my way. Out of nowhere. But it didn't come because I worked harder. It came because I stopped resisting someone else's miracle and made space for my own. Now listen closely. You are not stuck. You are not being punished. You are not behind. You are simply being invited to bless what you've been resisting, to surrender the how you thought it should happen, and to align with the now that's already knocking. This is your moment to choose. Will you keep cursing what could be yours? Or will you start celebrating your future before it fully arrives? Because your next level is not waiting on more hustle, it's waiting on more harmony. And the door you've been pounding on will swing open the moment you stop knocking. You've prayed, you've waited, you've aligned your words, visualized your dreams, whispered your affirmations in the dark. But let's get honest, part of you still resents the very thing you're calling in. You're secretly angry at the people who have it. You're frustrated at the time it's taking. You're bitter that you've done everything right and the doors still aren't opening. And in that bitterness, you've built a spiritual wall so high, even divine order can't climb it. You can't walk into a blessing you secretly resent. The frequency doesn't match. You say you want abundance, but you criticize the wealthy. You say you want love, but you mock happy couples. You say you trust divine timing, but your heart is pacing the floor with anxiety. And then you wonder why the answer is delayed. You are not being punished. You are being purified. Because the universe will never deliver a sacred promise to a heart that would resent it once it arrived. You've tried, you've knocked, you've begged. Now it's time to surrender. Let go of how, let go of when, let go of what it's supposed to look like. Your job was never to manufacture the miracle. Your job is to align with it, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and become a space it wants to enter. The moment you release the resistance, the answer rushes in. So here's your divine challenge. You've waited long enough. Your blessing is ready, but it cannot enter through a resentful door. Open the gate, roll the words, let them pierce. Repeat after me, as if your future depended on it. I bless what I desire. I bless what I desire. I now trust the timing of the divine. I now trust the timing of the divine. I am a match to peace, not pressure. I am a match to peace, not pressure.